Hey, I'm Aaron from GameEnthus.com, and in this video I'm going to be talking about smallish creatures that are focused on just living life and eating bugs, things like that, as opposed to selling insurance. And that game is called Garden Geckos. Garden Geckos was designed by James Staley, with illustrations from Cesar Ayala Delgado, and published by Tin Robot Games. And it's playable from 2 to 6 players. Garden Geckos is an objective-focused tile placement game where players are going to be focusing on placing their geckos betwixt. I like saying that word, betwixt. It's just a fun word. Just sprinkle it in, just for no reason at all. Just when you could say between. You could just easily say between. But if you say betwixt, people just kind of go, wait. They just kind of wait. What did you just say? I said betwixt. Back to the point. Placing geckos betwixt. There it is again. Particular insects or bugs, if you will. Placing the right insects on the right geckos and the right patterns will guarantee you a win. Anyway, allow me to be a little bit more specific. All right, so this is what a setup in Garden Geckos might look like. You're going to have these 6 different types of bugs, which consist of moths, mealworms, flies, ladybugs, grasshoppers, and my most hated, the vile roach. In addition to that, you're going to have 60 terrain hex tiles, which contain different types of terrain. Sometimes they'll take up a third, sometimes they won't. That was an accident. Like this one is taking up a whole lot with a ladybug in the middle. If it zooms in, there we go. Okay, if it focuses, I mean. This one has 3 different types. They all have a bug in the middle with the exception of the starter one, which has a hole in the center. And the player who goes last gets to pick one of the meeple bugs and then put them in the center. Typically, because they're going last, it's a way to sort of balance things out a bit. They're getting to play last, so they get to pick the first bug that will end up being surrounded. We'll get into that in just a second. The game is playable from 1 to 6 players. So in addition to all that, you have 6 different types of geckos to pick from. And as you can see, if it decides autofocus, there we go. Yeah, you have white, pink, green, blue, black, and red. There's also some colorblind friendly textures on them. As you see, the white and black are opposites. Blue have little circles. Red have small squares. Green have empty squares. And pink has stripes. The colors that I picked for today's demonstration are going to be green and red. Why I picked green and red, I don't know. That's just what I ended up doing. Don't judge me. There are 5 of each gecko type. There's also 12 secret objective cards. And what these do is these are in-game scoring. So if you had, let's say this one and a roach, you'll be incentivized if you're a player who has the roach as a secret objective to complete objectives that have roaches on them, as you'll get bonus points for doing so. So the terrain bonus is a little bit different. So at the end of the game, the largest continuous pattern on the table that matches your bonus objective is scored. So even if you haven't really placed a bunch of grass or maybe sunshine or stone patterns down on the board, the largest continuous pattern of those can score you a whole lot of points. Yeah, so there's basically 1 for each type of bug and then 1 for each different pattern. I don't really want to look at the roach, so say we substitute that with the ladybug. You have 2 different types of objectives up here. You have objectives that are about the insects that you are connecting on various patterns. For this one, you're gonna want your gecko to be pointing at a moth, a grasshopper, a mealworm, and a cockroach. None of them have to be connected. For this one, you want your gecko to be pointing at a moth and a roach. The line connects them. So you want them to be pointing at things that are connected, just like you want a fly and a grasshopper to be connected for this one. And upon completing them, what you are earning are, you're not gonna necessarily get the meeples per se, but these will also count for points. So you'll get a mealworm and a roach. This one you get a grasshopper, a fly, and a ladybug. And this one is very similar to that one. Over here, these are built out by just connecting the patterns. So once your gecko is placed on these patterns, then you would earn these, which would factor in for end game scoring. So the player on this side, so this is player 2, they'll probably be incentivized to complete this middle one and then these 2 in the terrain objectives because they have ladybugs that you earn. If you're wondering why you would get these cards with these different pictures of the bug meeples on them and not get the bug meeples for doing it, it's because once a tile is surrounded with geckos pointing at it, hopefully, whoever has the most geckos pointing at it would earn the meeple. So the end of the game is triggered when the last one of these tiles is drawn. You would finish off the round to the player who's to the right of the player who started. So everybody gets an equal number of turns. The game can also end when someone gets their 6th objective. When an objective is earned, it is replenished from its corresponding deck. And the last way the end of the game is triggered is when, I'll touch the roaches, is when one of these runs out. So once any particular bug meeple is exhausted, that will trigger the end of the game, finish out the round. That's the end. Each player will get 3 tiles to start, and turn is kind of as follows. All right, back over to player 2. So if I slide this in here, now I get to put this down. All right, so now the center tile is surrounded. Any of these tiles can be surrounded, but the center one was surrounded first. So because I have 2 red geckos pointed at this ladybug, it means I earn a ladybug. Let's put it over here. It's usually worth 1 point, but it's really gonna be worth 2 points because this is my bonus. So, yay me. Let's see, what does this also mean? This also means I'm on rock, water, and grass. Rock, water, grass. So I also earn this. So it's pretty good. Which also has a ladybug on it, as you can see here. All right, so looking at what's here is player 1's turn. You see the patterns that are out here. They know they're not making any headway on that one. Right now they have grass, water that they're on. So that kind of one here, not great. Oh, well, 2 water, that is a thing. But then they've made no progress on that pattern right there with the flowers. Well, the yellow flowers, there's orange flower, yellow flowers. So orange flowers and then smaller yellow flowers. They made no progress on that, so they're not going to focus on that. Going to focus more on what's over here. So right now they're pointed at grasshoppers, a moth, and a mealworm. So grasshoppers, moth, mealworm. So if they add a roach to that, they can earn this objective. How are they going to go about doing that? What's the best place to put that? They can't put anywhere where there's rock because there's no rock exposed. Plenty of yellow, a lot of yellow, and maybe a little bit of that too. So let's say, look at that. Let's say they do that, and they take. So right now they are pointed at a roach, a grasshopper, a mealworm, and a moth, which satisfies all 4 of these. So they earn that, and that'll be 2 points for just each insect there. And then they're going to replenish. I believe you're only able to earn 1 card, 1 objective card per turn. Like I said, most of the games I played, it's been somebody hits 6 objectives. It's typically not these running out or the tiles running out. But there are 3 different ways a game can come to an end. So it's trying to cover all the bases here. So they're going to take this one, which is a ladybug. So that was a brief overview of Garden Geckos. If you're the type of person who likes tile placement games, thinks you might like tile placement games, likes colorful games, or thinks you might like colorful games, colorful puzzly games, I would highly recommend you back Garden Geckos. Also, if you're a big fan of roach-shaped meeples, if you're that type of person, I have questions, but your ship has come in. Anyway, Garden Geckos is currently on a crowdfunding site. The link should be in the description below. The link is in the description below. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. I'm Aaron from GameEnthus.com. Thank you for watching. Take care, stay safe, and be blessed.